It is the start of May, and you should have probably been starting your shredding process back in March. But because summer is coming up, here are some mistakes to avoid when getting shredded for summer. Before we get started, comment down below what has been your favorite technique to get shredded. First up, we have cutting calories too hard and too fast. Unless this is just a one-day event, you probably want to look shredded for the whole entire summer and not just a small portion of it. If you cut your food too hard, too fast, you are simply going to rebound much heavier than you would, as opposed to if you took it lighter in smaller increments. And this huge rebound effect, after putting your body in a starvation mode, is just gonna make your body want to hang on to all of that much more. Be consistent with your caloric deficit throughout the weeks and months, and don't do this roller coaster yo-yo type stuff with your diet and with your body weight. Your cheat meals turn into your cheat days. Now, one thing, I don't really like cheat meals or cheat days a whole lot, simply because when you have something sweet or something delicious, you're probably going to want more of that in general. So by constantly tempting yourself, you put yourself in this position where it's kind of like, oh man, maybe I should just have one more because I won't have it for the next 3 days. And then this might lead to a binge, and you're kind of just making yourself more susceptible to binging out on a bunch of other foods instead of kind of just sucking it up, eating your, chicken, broccoli, and rice for these weeks and months and maintaining your diet. You're kind of just teasing yourself constantly. When you have some food that has carbohydrates in it, this increases a hormone known as ghrelin. Ghrelin is basically your hunger hormone. I kind of like to think of it as a gremlin, similar. Don't feed them after midnight. Don't feed yourself after midnight, because you're just going to binge and turn into a gremlin instead of that cute little gizmo looking thing. So basically, by limiting yourself too much, you naturally want to become a little bit rebellious as well with that. When you take something away from you, you just want it more. Just human instinct. Drop a like down below for Ayla. Probably one of the most common mistakes I find with a lot of my clients and other people is that you don't have a plan. Now, this includes something known as SMART goals. So specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and time bound. So you could start off saying, I want to lose 10 pounds in the next month. So is this specific? Yes. You are specifically saying you want to lose a certain amount of weight within a certain amount of time. So specific, yes. Is it measurable? 10 pounds. Yes, so we have a number here, so you can measure 10 pounds on a scale. Is it attainable or achievable? Okay, 10 pounds within 1 month. It will be a little bit harder, but if you are at a much heavier body weight and body fat percentage, it'd probably be easier for you. So let's say for this example, yes, this is achievable. Is it relevant to your goal? Well, you want to get shredded for summer, right? So by lowering your body weight, you will be lowering your body fat as well. And time bound. Can we get this done within 1 month? Like I said earlier, if you are a heavier person, this is definitely a realistic and smart goal to go for. If you are a lighter person, you could drop your weight a little bit, or just keep in mind you might have a little bit harder or more strict restrictions as opposed to if you are heavier. If you weigh 240 pounds, 10 pounds to you won't be as much to someone who weighs 140 pounds. So of course, keep it smart with your body and your specific goal. But again, for this example, yes, 1 month is achievable. Anyone can actually do this. It is whether or not it is smart to do this or not. So that is a great way how to start off your plan. It's just now you have to implement how to go about that plan. Are you going to start walking more? Are you going to work out more frequently? How much of a caloric deficit do you plan on getting in? It's just all of these factors play a role. Maybe you're going to try to aim for 3 perfect nights of sleep each night. Just really depends on what all you want to do, all the contributing factors to reaching that goal. Another mistake a lot of people make is not having enough time. And in this situation, I mean allowing your body to adapt to what you need to do without going too hardcore, too fast right off the bat, and completely derailing the whole entire plan that you had going for you. Again, if you're making smaller changes for longer increments of time, you're far more likely to stick to that schedule and that program, as opposed to if you change a lot in a little amount of time. I'll give you a personal example of what not to do. When I competed in my bodybuilding competition last year, most people, when prepping for a bodybuilding competition, usually start anywhere between about 12 to 20 weeks out, just depending on what level they're at, professional or not. and how hardcore the competition is and how hardcore they want to go. But I think 12 to 20 weeks is pretty reasonable for most people. I signed up for the competition 6 weeks out. So this means those people that had started 12 weeks, 18 weeks, all that time ahead of me, I had to double and triple the amount of work I was doing in a little amount of time, making it way harder for me instead of gradually leading up to these events. This led to a huge lifestyle change in general, where I stopped having my protein shakes and just any sort of protein bars, any sweets at all, any drinks, liquid calories, really just completely strict protein, occasional carbs to get me going for workouts, and lots of vegetables. And I mean, it is my fault. I did decide to sign up for that competition 6 weeks out, so it is my fault, and I was aware of what I was putting myself into. But again, I was aware of what I was doing, and I knew I was going to suffer for 6 weeks, but it was okay. It was worth it in the end. One of the biggest things with fitness is you want to survive. You want to last the longest with this. So make a plan that is sustainable for you and can last weeks and months when getting shredded, and not something that will fizzle out after even 1 or 2 weeks. Isn't that right? Now this one is a little bit more rare, but not enough cardio. Now this is more of a rare case, but I usually see this with certain powerlifters or people that lift a lot of weight and they're very strong people, but they don't really like going above that 5+ reps. And this because, you know, your muscles start to burn, your heart starts to push harder. It's because it's more of an aerobic performance as opposed to an anaerobic explosive performance. That being said, one of the best ways to do cardio is by just simply walking, because you could do this after meals, you could do this after workouts, you could do this in the morning, fasted, which I actually highly recommend. This is important because the substrate utilization or macro utilization matters in this case, where if you are walking at a low intensity, you are more so utilizing fats, or as opposed to if you're running or doing some high aerobic activity, you are more so burning carbs and utilizing carbs for your energy instead. This is important because when you're trying to get shredded, you want to burn as much fat as possible, not necessarily the carbs or energy that you're going off of. So walking would be more optimal in this case for the long run. So if I were to make any recommendations with that, I'd recommend walking in the morning before you kind of get going, before you start eating your food and whatnot. Or I'd recommend after your workout, walk 10-20 minutes after, just so you have enough energy for your workout. And this is something simple, much simpler to do as opposed to hitting a workout then going on a run. And that way you can also focus on maintaining your muscle and strength, and that's where most of your energy would go. On the other side of things, too much cardio. Now this is important because if you are trying to get shredded for summer, you probably already have some sort of muscle on you, and if you're just spamming cardio, sprints, treadmill, this, HIIT training, whatever, you might be doing more damage than good. You might be losing a little bit of weight, yes, for the short term. However, you're also might be losing muscle at the same time. And you want to look shredded, but also built, right? Isn't that right? You want to look shredded and built for summer, not just shredded and small or skinny, like someone like myself might end up having a problem with. Another mistake you might be making is that you're getting terrible sleep. This is probably one of the most underrated parts of the whole entire fitness industry. Sleep. I have quite a few videos on sleep, how to get better sleep and what to do, how to go about it. Keep in mind, you can do whatever you want. If you want to go out and party after work or just go hang out with your friends, whatever, that's your call, that's your thing. You know your schedule better than I do. But just keep in mind, 7 to 9 hours, high quality sleep, dark room, cold temperature, either white noise as in like a fan or something, or no noise at all. All of that adds up and plays a factor in how you're going to feel the next day and how much energy you might have the day after. So that's probably one of my biggest recommendations for anyone in general. Sleep. The next problem might be that you're doing the same thing that you did before you made your goal. If you weren't already starting to get shredded, then you probably want to switch things up a little bit just because your body is more used to what you've been doing. I know some people kind of coined this as similar to shocking the muscle, so to speak. Not that you have to do a whole bunch of different workouts and everything, but maybe if you weren't walking at all, maybe start walking. If you were already walking, maybe do it more frequently. If you were only getting one night's perfect sleep, then maybe try to get 2 nights of good sleep. And of course, probably the most obvious one, depending on how much time you have, a bad diet. is really gonna mess up getting shredded. This could include having sugar and carbs often, which I talked about with the ghrelin, the hunger hormone, and getting teased more, meaning you'll want to eat more of it. But you gotta keep in mind your body functions a certain way as well, and a bunch of sugar and trash junk foods aren't going to help you function and perform the best anyways. So of course, a bad diet, alcohol and soda consumption are other things as well, drinking, calories in general, really. If you want to just be cognizant of how much this might play a role in the amount of sugar and fats you're taking in, you could, again, do whatever you want, but just keep in mind it might not get you the results as fast as opposed to if you didn't drink those in the first place. Basically, one of the best things you could do is increase your protein, at least, 1 gram per pound of body weight would be best, especially when you're losing weight and body fat, because this helps with your immune system and a whole bunch of functions as well. Subscribe to get shredded for summer, and I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.